I bear witness there's only one God, and Muhammad's blessings and peace be upon him as his prophet. I dedicate this right to my brother, Darryl Baum, who died. I'll be there to see you. I love you with all my heart. God, man, what?
Is this your shortest fight ever? In any time, amateur, professional ever?
Assalamu alaikum, Maida.
Mike Tyson was upset. He'd just taken his anger out on tomato can Lou Savarese. He was
Tyson who scored 21. First round that Tyson threw. It was like a kick from a horse. He did get it. Might be the quickest win of Tyson's career.
A month before, 50 Cent Jackson had been popped 9 times in front of his granny's home in Queens, but survived. Then on June 10th, 2000, a guy named Hamo got shot down. Darryl Baum, the best friend that Iron Mike had dedicated the fight to. The fight that had been his fastest knockout ever. Now, there was a rumor that Iron Mike put a hit on 50 Cent over Hamo, but 50 was in no position to have a hit put on one of BK's most infamous work-for-hire guys. But wait, there's more. On February 25th, 01, Lil Kim's entourage exchanged shots with Capone of Capone-N-Noreaga. I mean, Capone was friends with Foxy Brown, who'd been beefing with Lil Kim since Biggie's passing. Something went on between Capone's team and Lil Kim's team, and of course, C. Gutter, don't you know my Gutter kidnapped kids, and that throw them over the bridge? Pretty foul verse. C. Gutter let loose for the Hot 97. Lil Kim and Foxy Brown had been at odds about whatever since Biggie's death. Capone was friends with Foxy, so Capone and his crew, the Murder Squad, is outside. Lil Kim is there with C. Gutter. Whether Damian Hardy was there, he wasn't there. Now, Lil Kim stood the test of omerta, even though she was clearly at the shooting in front of Hot 97, which resulted in the death of somebody that was with Capone. She got on the witness stand and said she didn't see nothing, even though the camera showed her she was there. She served a year in federal prison for that.
21 shots. You lost 21 shots.
It wasn't a situation where I just shot either. It was stupid, the situation that caused me to shoot. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to never say a dude is not cut like a certain thing.
4 pounds of pressure.
You know what I'm saying? But
momentary lapse in judgment, if that's what comes down to.
A dude, I know he wasn't, you know how you can feel an energy off of somebody. Of course. And you know, like, you don't have to sit there and converse with him too long, but you'll know what type of energy as far as being a warrior.
Let's go back to something called the Cash Money Brothers. Now, you may remember them from New Jack City. The screenwriter of New Jack City, Barry Michael Cooper, grew up in Harlem, and he based the Cash Money Brothers on Leroy Nicky Barnes and his council, which is where he grew up, and then also the Chambers brothers, CMB, from Detroit, and he learned about them in 1986 when he went to Detroit for the Village Voice to write an article called New Jack City, Detroit Kills and Eats Its Young. New Jack City had a similar effect that Scarface had a decade earlier, inspiring certain people to take the dope game very seriously. I remember going to see New Jack City with my father, and the movie was constantly disrupted by guys' beepers going off and them getting up and leaving the theater, and we were all laughing at, I guess, the irony of watching a movie about drug dealers with a bunch of drug dealers. I mean, literally the whole movie was disrupted. Beep, 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 guys getting up every 2 seconds. So that was the environment in 1991, and that was the environment in which 2 brothers named Damian and Myron in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, the Lafayette Gardens Public Housing Project, to be exact, set up their own crew called the Cash Money Brothers, launched in 1991. And Damian and Myron were known as World and Wise on the streets.
Like, these guys were my friends, man, and all of it's a people who know it's a mess. It's a very messy thing, and I used to get calls, and cat to be like, yo, dude is wilding, and these are cats that used to be with me. Cause World's he's a serious guy.
So the Cash Money Brothers are making a lot of noise. They're dominating the Lafayette Gardens and having action out of state. But at some point in the mid to late 90s, Damian World Hardy goes to the pen for a short time and his brother Wise gets gunned down. And he blames a guy named Ivory Peanut Davis, who's also from the Lafayette Gardens. Now, whether he down with them and then broke away or what, it's hard to say. One newspaper article says one thing, one says another. I do know that he does appear in Lil Kim's music video, Get Money, which was made in maybe 1996. Myron Wise Hardy has been dead for many years. World is most famous to the general public for being Lil Kim's boyfriend. The two lived together in his New Jersey mansion for some time. Again, he was sentenced to 6 life terms in federal prison, but he had been indicted in 2004, and his case dragged on for an amazing 11 years. He wasn't convicted until 2015 because he was ruled schizophrenic, unable to stay in trial due to mental disability. And then after about 10 years, finally the federal prosecutors got a judge to force medication on Mr. Hardy. And once his symptoms ostensibly abated, he was considered fit to aid in his own defense and to know what was going on. They marched a slew of his former associates, mainly hitmen, up on the stand to talk about the Cash Money Brothers organization.
You know how many cats they seen that was the best of the friends shoot the shit out of each other, like as kids growing up? They knew what it was. You have to be a little off, at least a little off, to deal with those potentials every single day. Especially for some people, they're like, it's a potential. It's maybe a random potential. Something may happen. But for some, it's a reality of your, because you're operating in such a way and at such a level where the threat is very real. You have to be vigilant about it every day. I mean,
so at some point in the mid to late 90s, Damian World Hardy caught a short prison term, and while he was away, his brother Wise was gunned down, and he blamed a man named Ivory Peanut Davis, who I think was also from the Lafayette Gardens, who may have broken away from the CMB. And when World got out, he was alleged, well, this is what he was convicted of having one of his Cash Money Brothers shooters gunned down both Ivory Peanut Davis, who was shot in his Lexus and crashed the car. And I think he killed an innocent bystander when he crashed the car. And also Darryl Hamo Baum. And Hamo Baum was a guy who had supposedly killed Wise, having been paid by Ivory Peanut Davis.
it was as though you could be in a condition that was so different from the condition you were in 6 months before. It would seem as though 6 months before didn't exist, hadn't happened.
Now, at some point in the late 90s, not long after Notorious B.I.G. was gunned down in L.A., his former protege, Lil Kim, took up with Damian World Hardy. She lived with him for a time in his New Jersey mansion. And Hardy acted as her manager of some sort, as you get into doing Don Diva, where it's not about rappers, but rappers are the customers, rappers are buying ads, you're at the parties where the rappers are at, etc. You would have been kind of in a similar position of him, of if you were, you know, a street guy, a black street guy in New York, you were going to be enmeshed with the rappers, right?
Yeah, because there was only two people who were in the clubs, you know, that were making any significant presence or impact. That was street guys and industry guys.
Like that. But as far as known hold'em, I don't know Lil Kim to be a sleep around like that.
It's not. Kim is a very good person.
How did you meet her?
Me and Kim was in first grade together. Went to school together. We grew up together from kid.
I don't know when he got involved with Kim, but you know, once he did, things started happening pretty fucking fast. Like a lot of things started happening. This happened and that happened.
And in fact, a former hitman for the Cash Money Brothers crew testified that while Hardy was working as her manager, he sent one of his hitters to go and try and intimidate Funkmaster Flex into giving her more spins. If you don't know what a spin is, back before streaming. A spin was when a major record station like Hot 97, when Funkmaster Flex worked, played your record. So if you could force the DJs to spin your records, you could kind of force yourself to have a hit song. But Funkmaster Flex was very frightened of World, I guess, and rightfully so. And he told the hitter, World might as well kill me now because I can't give them all those spins because, you know, a DJ only can and do what the programming director lets him.
I knew Junior Mafia as artists. I knew Junior Mafia as a rap collective, you know. The movement, because once money starts coming into it, it's damn difficult to discern who's a street person and who's somebody who just has enough resources to kind of present themselves.
Now, at the time, he was also, when Hardy was also working with Lil Kim in the industry, some of those same hitmen testified that they would be sent to hip-hop industry parties to rob the patrons, the rappers of jewelry, and the names of their victims never came out in court, but it did go on. So World was one of those guys that was a wolf in the hip-hop business, you know, like people like Keefy D or you know, Suge, Anthony Wolf Jones, etc.
You know,
How old are you?
29.
And where are you originally from? You got a lot of stories that kind of ride with the legend of Worlds. Most of the ones that I've heard aren't so nice. They don't paint you as such a nice man.
Well, you know, that's just people trying to discredit me
Yeah.
because they know what's got to happen.
How do you make your money? Any money? By muscling people?
No,
Okay.
I don't muscle people. I don't muscle people. Music, you know, I used to dibble and dabble into certain things, but
Block
music,
hugger?
No,
No, okay.
never a block hugger. But music,
You had
And the name of the guy who testified to all this was Alan Boo Bryant, another one of his hitman, Moo. So Boo and Moo testified about these robbing these parties and intimidating Funkmaster Flex. In 2001, Lil Kim had another major problem that caused her to go to prison at Hot 97. She was going there for an interview, and Foxy Brown and her crew, which she was running around with these guys called the Murder Unit, who were later convicted of a bunch of murders, and they were with Capone from Capone-N-Noreaga, and Lil Kim had C. Gutta from the Junior Mafia. Don't they know my Gutta kidnapped kids in the ass store over the bridge? That guy was with her, and he pulled out a Mag 11, and he sprayed in front of Hot 97, and someone in Foxy Brown's entourage was hit. And Gutter did about 15 years. He was let out not too long ago. Cavario did some interviews with him. Links below.
World didn't have anything to do with it. He didn't have nothing to do with it, like in terms of that happening. You know what I'm saying? That realistically, that was God. You have to say that was Gutter. But cause Gutter he was on some shit. He was on his shit. You know, and he took an action that he didn't take into full consideration. What could
there have been, but what he did, it sort of emblematic about New York that changed it maybe 6-7 years before that. He'll say he would have got away with it, but maybe he would have got away with it, or like he wouldn't have been such a big deal. But at that point, New York, that was exactly the kind of thing they weren't having.
that was definitely not a good time for the shit like that. That's for sure. That is absolutely for sure. And again, had that happened in, say, 95, 96.
Now, Lil Kim wasn't the only celebrity connected to this case.
I'm being witness there's only one God, and Muhammad, blessings and peace be upon him, is his prophet. I dedicate this right to my brother, Darryl Baum, who died. I'll be there to see you. I love you with all my heart.
I mean, Hamo was I mean, I don't know who doesn't know this, but Hamo was a hitter. He was a hitter.
So who is this Darryl Baum that Mike Tyson shouted out after his knockout victory? His nickname on the streets of New York was Hamo, and that name may sound familiar if you are a fan of noted shooting victim Curtis Jackson, who took 9 shots from Hamo, probably, allegedly, supposedly on the orders of or paid by I think he was convicted of that. I don't know. That's the urban myth.
When he got killed, and 50 ended up, I guess, finding out who put the work in on him, and then he retaliated in the way that his resources enabled him to retaliate, which was to make a song and demean his character, reputation, whatever that was about.
Now, in the song Many Men, 50 Cent had the lyric, Hamo shot me, 3 weeks later he got shot down. Now it's clear that I'm here for a real reason, because he got hit like I got hit, but he ain't breathing. And Iron Mike did not take too kindly to 50's false implication that he was the one that hit Hamo.
I was in Harlem one day, and I was on my way to go see my big bro Branson, and Mike Tyson was coming from seeing Branson. To see Branson was, to see, the exotics, you know what I'm saying, in terms of the trees and so forth. That was, he was the one that brought exotics uptown, Branson was the person you had to go see to go get some real shit that didn't make noise when you shook the bag, because there's no seed and all type of shit in it, So Branson's that guy. Mike was coming from there, and I'm sitting at the light, just past the light on 145th and St. Nick, between 145th and 146 on the uptown side of St. Nick, and I hear somebody, yo. And I look, and it's Mike. He said, Cavalry, man, what's up with your man? I said, who? He said, your boy 50. I said, what? He said, what was that shit he said? That was some fucked up shit he said about my man Hamo, man. That was my man. That was my friend, man. And I was like, oh, I said, man, we know how kid is, man. That's his arena. That's his weapon. That's his sword. That's what he uses to attack his enemies and so forth. Hey, man, it's some fucked up shit. And make a living. You know what I mean? So he said, that's some fucked up shit. He was pretty pissed the fuck off, though.
According to the feds, Iron Mike and World Hardy put hits out on each other, or at least thought about putting hits out on each other. Though in the testimony, Alan Boo Bryant, he said that his cohort Moo said that they shouldn't whack Tyson because he was a Muslim just like World. But World then responded that if Tyson could put a hit out on him and World was a Muslim, why shouldn't he put a hit out on a fellow Muslim? Of course, in the end, it was decided not to hit Tyson, and clearly Tyson, couldn't have World hit because World didn't get hit.
Cannot believe that I'm sitting here with the infamous World. This is my second time meeting with you, and you have your Quran, and you have a woman with you who is wearing, what do you call this?
Kimo.
Okay, it's fabulous. Is that Chanel? It matches the fabulousness of her boots, but clearly she is with you in your faith.
Exactly.
And your faith is?
Islam.
Islam.
The true Islam.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one Islam.
How long?
Not the Nation of Islam and all that. The true Islam. True Islam.
And as an aside, Tyson's would-be hit, or maybe did try to pay for it, on World included a guy named Taz, and Taz was one of the reasons that Hamo got hit, in addition to probably getting World's brother. Hamo Baum had pressed Taz to sell drugs for him instead of World Hardy.
It's kind of a necessity that you can get outside of your humanity. It's kind of, which would seem crazy to people.
Damien Hardy's lethal orders in the case of Hamo Baum were carried out by a guy named Aaron eBay Granton, who was convicted of being a triggerman in 5 more Cash Money Brothers hits, including that of Hamo Baum's brother, whose widow showed up at World's trial and at his sentencing with the t-shirt with her deceased husband on it.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart, I want to eat his children. Praise be to Allah.